You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Show. My name is Kerry Greenaway, and boy have we got a show for you tonight. Firstly, I want to introduce a guest because we are dual broadcasting at this moment in time. We're teaming up with the lovely Jay Lynch from Z Talk Radio. Good evening, Jay.
Good evening. How are you all tonight?
I'm fine, thank you. So we're dual broadcasting. This is a momentous moment in radio history. Do you think that was a little much?
We are. It is simulcast. That's what I'm checking right now. Make sure it's simulcasting.
We are
Sorry
simulcasting. Oh, that's a posh word. Simulcasting.
Yeah, see here.
At this moment in time, we're teaming up with the lovely.
That is live through the Z Talk Radio app.
Awesome, and we are live on Parasearch Radio over on Spreaker too, and obviously we've got my lovely Mark Manley with us as well.
Of course you have. I'm always here, apart from last week when the internet was absolutely terrible and I wanted to kill everybody. But apart from that, you have got my brother from another mother, Jay Lynch, even though he's got the twisty Jay's Adventures of Tintin hairdo sported at the moment. I am bald as a coot, and then you have got the lovely, delectable bell tent himself, Carl.
Hello, my lovelies. I hope you are okay. Both UK and in my mother from another mother, America, which I love and respect. So, hello, America, as well.
And to all the American brethren listening to us, yes, I am the one with the very British accent, along with the lovely Kerry and Carl, and we love you all. Okay, chin chin.
Okay, they're a little excited, I feel, tonight. A little excited. Now, the topic on the table tonight is
just a way I walk.
Is a new thing. It's a new terminology that's entered the market. And it's called dark tourism. We've seen the programme on Netflix. And there's basically what this is. It's tourism regarding visiting and, looking at things that are historically associated with death and tragedy. But I kind of thought we did that anyway.
No. There's more of this becoming more and more profound at the moment. It's quite interesting. Obviously on Netflix there's the dark tourism with the guy from South Australia or New Zealand, whatever it is. He's down that neck of the woods.
G'day, mate.
Yeah, and he's been all over. But he goes to places where you wouldn't think. I'll tell you what, where shall I go this year? Shall I go to a nice beach, put my feet up? No, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Chernobyl, or I'm going to go to these places around the world. And you just go, really? But there's so many people out there that is now planning their holidays, which is brilliant, to go to these places, and including people that plan their holidays to go to haunted locations like road trips. I have a couple of friends at the moment in America that are on their...
They need an RV. They need an RV.
Their RV, exactly.
Yes.
They're in their RV and they're doing a 6-month road trip around every possible on their route to locations, conventions and everything. What an amazing experience.
Or a very macabre experience.
Can I just say that we have had, although it's come into light in recent years due to the likes of Zach Bilbo Baggins and stuff like that, you've got all these places. I'm sorry, what was that? Giggle chuckle. That was a goggle. That was a goggle. We've had all these places on the TV that have been, loads of people have gone to, loads of famous people have gone to. But before that, it used to be you go on holiday if you liked, the paranormal stuff, and this, that, and the other. You go to Eastern Europe on holiday. Oh, let's go to Romania. Yeah, we'll go to Romania. Blah blah blah. Let's go to Transylvania, and you're seeing all the sites and stuff, and then you take in the castle, you take in this and you take in that. But now, thanks to Bilbo, you've got all these places that you go to, and it's literally they've developed a new form of tourism for it, haven't they? So that you don't have a normal holiday, you have one that is based around like Dracula's castle and the forest where all his what do you call them, up the bottom, those things being the big pieces of wood when they killed everybody. That's the one where you had now they based the whole holiday around Vlad Dracula's castle, the forest where the stakes were, where his table was set up with the buckets of blood and this, that and the other. So like I say, thanks to certain paranormal shows where they did this and they go abroad and they show you all these places, that's why the tourism thing has taken off. And I do think it's good for certain holidays, but I also think may rinse the place a bit, but
yeah. Jay, because we haven't had Jay's take on this yet.
Go for Jay.
But you got to remember that I'm over here in the United States where we do all kinds of weird stuff anyway. I mean, I did watch that series about the Dark Holidays, and I loved it. There's a couple places I thought I wouldn't go, and I just thought, I wouldn't go that. But yeah, I'm with Mark. I think some of the TV things has brought it on more, but I think it's actually been going on all along. It really has. It's just people talk about it.
It's always been there.
Again.
I mean, I have to say, from the UK perspective, when I was looking at this, when I went on a website where you could buy holidays, like touring holidays, which is quite useful in the UK because we can do a couple of hours travelling and visit somewhere. It's quite easy, right? And things that were associated with. Well, you're big, aren't you? You've got like expanses of space. It takes forever to get anywhere.
That's why you need an RV and a Dark Mirror show on tour. Hello.
Jay?
You're right, though. I mean, you was telling me that last time I was talking with you about a couple hours, 4 hours, you can cross the entire island where that barely crosses the state in this over here. So I get what you're saying now, that we do have a lot farther to travel for some things, what you do. I get that.
Yeah.
Bad.
So in the UK, but some of the places that were on these tours, I wouldn't have necessarily classed as a dark tourism place. But then thinking about it under the definition of dark tourism, they would be. Now, bearing in mind, there were places we'd investigated.
Can I just say something? Dark tourism doesn't have to be paranormal.
No,
I'm sorry, dark what?
It can be macabre. It
Yeah.
can be a death wish. It can be weird and wonderful. Because there's so many locations. Like we just said, people go to Chernobyl. People go to Japan.
Yes.
People go to these places where technically life shouldn't live at or be at.
Yeah.
And they they flock there. It's like when I watched that the Dark Mirror tourism show, there was that bit where they were in the bus.
We'll go with it, Mark. Don't worry. Carry on.
I'm just trying to say.
Dark Mirror tourism show. Okay, cool.
The Dark Tourism show, there's this thing about when they were going to Japan, and everybody had these, meters on them, which they didn't really explain halfway through the show, and all of a sudden they were Geiger counters.
Yes.
And they were like, oh yeah, we were just handing, and they were like, we don't know whether they work or not. And these guys are getting closer and closer in Japan, closer to the epicenter of the bomb, and they were kicking off, and then all of a sudden they go, this got one guy goes, I'll tell you, I'm going to have a wander out. And he gets off the bus and wanders around. And you're just thinking, you're looking at these as like cars that haven't been touched for so many years, full of sand, there's shops, and so it's not just paranormal side of it, it's macabre, weird and wonderful side of it.
No, I totally agree with you. Firstly, see, that's a different category in my view, my personal view, is
Ghost towns
that
in America.
isn't what I would call as dark tourism, because nothing dark happened. I mean, yes, there was a nuclear disaster, and yes, it was very tragic, and still has an impact on the environment today. But there's nothing to really see apart from devastation.
No, it's empty buildings.
And then the worry...
People that you go into these buildings that you can go into, supermarkets where you got people's personal belongings on the floor, that's quite macabre and weird.
So that's like an edgy edgy urban exploration then.
So what is your definition of dark tourism?
See, carry on, Jay.
No, I just say with I see what you're saying about that, but I think with the dark side where they're going with is because of contamination of radiation and the fact that you could be putting yourself in deadly situation. That would be considered dark. The others are just paranormal tours. I think that separates it. What we're talking about is dark tourism, where it does take on an effect of death and possibly even being your own death in this process.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. But why would you want to put yourself at risk in that way, particularly with an unknown equation such as radiation poisoning?
Well, one of the biggest things I think is a lot of these people, particularly in the UK, when they go for their gap year, I'm going to go and find myself. So they go out and they get drunk and they howl at the moon and show their backsides.
What?
So like the Dark Mirror show then?
Bit like the Dark Mirror show, but
Yeah.
these kids are thinking, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a blowout for the year, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Have a blow what?
Drunk, whatever.
Blowout.
But at the end of the day, they're exploring, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I think it's great, because when you're in the working environment, it's a long slog. It's a long slog.
See, most of the people that I was looking at who had done this sort of thing weren't that kind of person. They were like an older person. Like, they'd gone beyond the clubbing and drunken escapade type holidays. Holidays. I went proper British then. Did you hear that? Escapade.
Just hurts. You've gone from the young ones that are going into the working life to the ones that are old enough to like decide they're going to retire and go off.
Why?
So you've got both sides.
Well, you asked me, you say, why would you do it? And for no other reason than it's the sheer adrenaline thrill of it. The chance of being harmed or injured is you have adrenaline junkies that are all about the jumping out of planes and stuff, because what if their chute don't open? I mean, the thrill, excitement of that, and there's no more adrenaline addiction than the possibility of injury or death. And death was the most.
So, Jay,
all about
you're
that
telling
basis,
me
isn't it?
this is the lazy person's form of adrenaline seeking.
Well, see, you see, but there's adrenaline is all about the adrenaline rush, and different things do it for different people. I find roller coasters extremely boring. I don't think they're a challenge. But then again, I used to ride my motorcycle at about 100 miles an hour.
I was going to say, you've never been on the back of my motorbike, have you? When you come over here, I'll take you for a spin.
But see, we would ride ours in the middle of go way out in the country. We would know a long stretch of road that we knew was nice and flat. We would get to about 85 to 100 miles an hour, and we would go blackout. We would turn out every freaking light and see who wussed out and turn the lights on first.
He did lane racing!
So there's any kind of animal, deer, anything could have come out from us, drifted over and hit one another. We would have all been dead. But that wasn't like jumping out of a plane and all that other things. But the adrenaline to it, the chance of absolutely getting killed, was the thrill of the thing. And it doesn't matter. It's not always about physical exertion. It's about your...
So, James, do you believe that a lot of this is adrenaline, basically? People that want to be adrenaline junkies?
Yes.
So whether it's haunted, whether it's dangerous, whether it's this, that, and the other, these people want that.
It's no different. You get a person who jumps out of a plane, they're doing it for the thrill of it and the adrenaline of it. And then you get these people that sit there and take these challenges out in Texas where they sit down in a bathtub and they see how many rattlesnakes they can put in their live with them. The chance of being bit at any moment and dying is high. They're not doing physical, but that adrenaline is still gone because there they are facing the opportunity of their own mortality. Doesn't matter how you bring it on. It's still an adrenaline rush. It's still a rush to your
know
psyche.
The majority then must be men.
No.
Can I just say, with dark tourism, I face my own mortality every time I go to Kerry's, because if she's had a curry, that's it. We know we're going to die.
You better believe it, baby. So.
Well, but going in what Kerry says, I disagree with what Kerry just said.
I've got a gas tank.
You had to bring it back out. You both shot me down in flames, and now you're going to go on about it, ain't you?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yes, your wind is bad, Kerry, but going back on the show...
Can't help it. It's my age.
Going back on the show, like we're trying to do this, I don't believe that there is like the paranormal split 50-50 in my eyes. Men, women. And I think what Jay just said about people that get that... Oh, I do apologise.
Excuse me, what was that?
No. Go on,
I do apologise to our American brethren that Carl...
Kerry, take over. I need to take a moment and slap myself.
He was trying to say fudging.
Oh, yeah.
He was trying to say fudging. Yes, he was trying to say fudging and...
Basically, it is not an agreed point that the adrenaline-seeking side of dark tourism is predominantly male.
No, it is not. Carl, put yourself over. You're good on Z Talk. We say that stuff all the time over here.
Don't tell him that, for God's sake.
If I'm on America, I thank you. I'm on UK. I'm terribly sorry I said the F-bomb.
I will speak with one of the station managers about Z Talk. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's okay. See, I'm good.
Right, in that case, let's get the show started.
No. Because you have a quintessentially English female over here that goes, please don't swear live on air.
What I was trying to say before I made the mistake was, I don't believe that people go out there, people like that buzz, people like that kick, whether it's a haunted location, whether it's a murder location, whether it's a weird location, whether it's this, that, and the other, people like that adrenaline pump. And I think no matter whether you're in the UK, whether you're in the States, whether you're in anywhere else around the world, if you have that passion, you have that pump inside you that go, yeah, I want to do this.
But
I've got this
do we, or is this a natural human?
Swedish,
or is this a natural human reaction? Right, because if there's an accident on the road, you can guarantee there'll be a tailback where people are just rubbernecking on the other side of the road.
Yeah, but people don't.
It is.
Yeah,
no, it is.
So you understand, Gary?
Oh, look, there's a testicle over there. Oh, Jesus, and everybody looks at it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's rubbernecking, and rubbernecking is a split-second moment. It's a spur-of-the-moment.
It's a known fact that if there's a major disaster, they have to keep people away from it.
What is the show about tonight?
It's dark tourism, but these are the things that are now dark tourism, like sites of... Ground Zero is a dark tourism spot.
Yeah, Kerry, Kerry, if you're driving up the road and you see an accident, you rubberneck. It does not mean you're a tourist.
No, it doesn't, but it's the same principle.
No, it's not.
It is, right? So if you go to New York and you visit... If you was going to go and visit, say, Ground Zero, how is that different from rubbernecking at... It's a macabre sight.
I'm sorry, but...
Unless you're related and it's a memorial scenario...
a freeway or a motorway...
How is everybody, anyway?
It's a big difference. Because you're not paying money.
It comes from psychology, going deep within you. It comes from the same place. It's a sense for the macabre.
I like going deep occasionally. Yeah.
Okay, Jay.
Hang on. We got a Jay. Jay's got his hand up. Jay, bring some sense to the room.
No, there's no way I can bring sense to this conversation. There's a difference between going to like Ground Zero and then rubbernecking at an accident. There's a big difference. Well, no, there is, but there isn't. If you're going to Ground Zero of something like that, before it's been cleaned up and all that things, just seeing the rubble and stuff, then yeah, it's the same principle. But like if you go to Ground Zero like at 9/11 Tower now, you're not going because of the macabre. You're going because of reverence. Yeah. It's a total different thing.
But there was time where people were visiting that before it turned into a memorial.
No.
Auschwitz. Let's take it to Europe. Let's go Auschwitz. People are going to Auschwitz. Why are they going there? Because firstly, it's in remembrance for all the people that, died under the horrific circumstances. But there is a certain macabre about it as well, isn't there? Going and being in a place where it's so horrendous. That is... I don't think we should ever forget either scenario. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is people that go to visit it's classed as dark tourism.
Yeah, but I agree with what you just said, Kerry, about people going to macabre places like...
Hang on, hold the phone. Did he just say he agreed with Kerry? Jesus Christ. Jay, we need a drink to celebrate. He just... Oh! Sorry, but... Oh, Carl! You agreed with Kerry! Oh! OMG!
I'll mark that in the diary.
Mark, have you finished? Have you finished?
Not yet. I need the deck.
Just give me a moment. Give me a moment, then you can jump in.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying, I agree with Kerry about like macabre places like Auschwitz, or kind of back in the day when 9/11 and the memorial was prominent, when it's still ruins. Not now, because when it's a fountain and there's a wall and whatever, that's slightly different. But I think people do go there. But when you're talking about places where there's been car accidents or this, that, and the other, you don't get that dark tourism. And I don't believe that people do that sort of thing.
No, you don't get dark tourism, but you get it instantly. It's like an instant fix of that. It comes from the same place. That intrigue, what's happened? That, let's look.
Well, see, with me, we're kind of blurring the lines here, because what you see mostly people going to 9/11 and at Ground Zero there, even after it happened, they first went there to see if they could help. And then they had it walled off where you really couldn't see anything. So then what they did was started coming there and laying of flowers and writing and visuals and things like that out of respect. So a Ground Zero is something like that. And even Chernobyl is they know at Ground Zero of 9/11 they're not going to come in any kind of life-threatening situation. They go into Chernobyl or something like that, then there's a chance they could get radiation poisoning. So there is a difference between something that's happened that's tragic like that than something that is possible that's going to harm you. At 9/11 Memorial, for dark tourism, I don't know why it would be on there, because there's nothing there going to harm you. It brings back macabre memories, it brings back the tragedy, it brings back destruction and thoughts and memories of those, but it does not threaten you in any way.
The same as at Auschwitz. That doesn't threaten you in any way.
No, it doesn't. To me, that's more of a memorial. They're going in reverence and respect, and also to not forget the tragedies that did happen there. But nothing harm or threaten them whatsoever.
Can I just put some point out about Auschwitz?
Sure. It's your turn.
This is probably the most sensible thing I've ever said on the Dark Mirror show, ever.
Jesus, you feeling all right?
I know, this is we're talking a big moment now. I'm not gonna joke about it. I'm not gonna pull a fast one out of me. What's it? And
no. Be careful what you're gonna say.
I know. I'm not gonna play up to
Just
play up.
say it.
But I personally think when people go to Auschwitz, it's for respectful reasons. I disagree with the people that go to Auschwitz who then YouTube it or Instagram it and all that sort of stuff. I disagree with that, because I think that is completely and utterly wrong. I've been there. I've walked up those railway lines. I've been round. I've seen the rooms. I've seen the room of shoes. I've seen all these things. The last thing on my mind when I walked around there for 3.5 hours was, I tell you what, I need to post this on social media. I think that is the key. I think that is the key when you look at dark tourism or you look at these sort of locations. When it comes to places like Auschwitz, people say, why don't people investigate it? I'll tell you why. You're absolutely wrong to do it.
So where's the boundary then? Because
may I jump in?
Yeah. Mark, go for it.
I totally agree with Carl there. If you're going to go to a place basically of death, despair, and just downright cruelty, you respect it. You don't go down there to take bloody selfies to put on social media. And there's been more and more things recently of tourists trying to take things from the ground and from the death rooms and the jewelry rooms. And no. When you're going to a place where so many deaths occurred and so many horrible, nasty, evil things occurred, and you've got all that energy that's in the ground, and you don't do that. You don't go there and take things, and you certainly don't go there as a, you don't go there as a tourist. If you really don't, you'll go to Pendle Hill and things like that as a tourist, and you may go to a few other things as a tourist, but you do not go to places like Auschwitz or any of the other death camps as a tourist. You just don't do that.
So there, right? Is there a distinction then of when the historical event happened?
No. Don't this distinction of when it happened. I think it's a respect factor, because you look at, say, the death camps we're talking about, Auschwitz and all these other ones.
Are we talking about death camps from Second World War or people?
Yeah, we're talking any death camps or anything like that.
To be fair, it's not just about. I mean,
when there's things that happen, as in, say, the bomb in Hiroshima. That's different, because that was a war-ending moment, as they say.
It was, but although it
shouldn't have been,
the war,
it should have been done. It shouldn't have happened. But at the end of the day, the Americans did it.
Yeah.
Not having a go at the Americans. Not having a go. Whatever.
No blaming anybody in the war scenarios, obviously. Everybody's as bad as each other under war circumstances.
I want to be able to go back to America without
being lynched.
No, we don't take it.
TSA just dragged me through the coals. I've had that when I went to Las Vegas last year, when I had to take my trousers off and experience things like that. I'm not saying that.
Oh, Jesus, no.
I'm just saying, when it comes to death camps and things like that, is a completely different thing about moments in time. Does that make sense, or am I talking rubbish?
No, because the way I see it, right, so say, and I know I'm talking UK locations predominantly here at the moment, but so what is the difference then between visiting something like that or visiting Missouri State Penitentiary, where they've got a death row and you're going to see death row? Not obviously
because they were convicted and they knew they were going to die.
Or going to Vietnam and living a prison experience from the Vietnam War days, which is something you can do under dark tourism. You know, these are all things you can do. I know
friends of mine went to Vietnam and they paid $50 to use a rocket launcher to blow up a certain animal. Yes, I disagree with that 100%, because that's not respecting or believing in the war. That's just earning money out
of a machine.
Carpet. That's just earning money out of the war. What I believe is, if you go somewhere where it's respectfully done, I think one of the most amazing places that I've ever been to, where you go and see that, funny enough, and we're talking Second World War, is Germany. Some of the places where evil, nasty, horrible things happened are done in a most, how do I put this? A more calming of way of doing it. They don't charge you. They let you in. They say one thing you can't do is you can't film, you can't YouTube, you can't social media. And I've been around some places when I went in Colombia.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
Exactly. But there's other places you can go around the world where they go, just take photos, do this, do that, do that.
Can I jump in a minute?
Dark tourism is wrong.
Can I jump in a second?
Yeah. Okay.
Literally, just to back up what you said, some dark tourism, yeah, I get it, and some places, absolutely yes. And you've got the scare factor, you've got the let's buy a baseball cap and a sticker and this, that, and the other, and I get all that. But it's like when we did this show on conspiracy theories and the JFK's conspiracy theory and everything, we had respect for that. And that's the key factor, is a lot of places don't have the respect they used to, but they don't anymore. And I think that, unfortunately, is sadly what is missing from a lot of things. You'll get people like us that will go to places where, unfortunately, atrocities have happened. We can do an outside broadcast, we can do this, that, and the other, but we will always have respect in certain places. But you will get those people that will go there and they'll try and take stuff and they'll try and do this and they'll take these bloody horrible selfies and this, that, and the other. And you shouldn't be doing that. Even, in America, you've got the Civil War atrocities and this, that, and the other. And exactly the same as Jay will probably agree. You've got the tourism that goes on, but there's certain places you do need to have respect for. And if you don't have the respect for it, do not go on it.
Jay? What's your views on it?
Oh, that's definitely without a doubt. But like you said, there's a lot of people in the younger generations, not even the younger generations. Times went on, and there's people being disrespectful to them now, and that's we have a lot of controversy in this country over here in the United States. It's because one side wants to preserve that history, and one side's like, well, it's past and it needs to be forgotten. It was tragic. It was horrendous. We need to get rid of it. But they don't understand the concept that. Well, I talk with my son. We talk about the Cold War all the time. He's like, this country's over there doing this and they're doing that. I'm like, dude, you don't get it. We grew up in a Cold War. We've been threatened to be killed every day of our lives. We're used to it. We've become crass to it just about. It's like, oh, somebody's going to shoot a rocket at us. I'm like, no, they're not. They threaten that all the time. So it's passe, and it's tragic that it's becoming that way. And I think
you've joined the Dark Mirror show, so you're going to get threats to kill you every single time now. You're on your head, be it.
I get that all the time.
He does worse.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, but I have to say, I think actually Jay tops us on the controversy front.
I'm
going to drag you down the rabbit hole with me.
Sorry, guys. I just want to ask Jay a question. Just popped into my head. You're talking about the Cold War. Obviously, us in the UK, we weren't really involved in that Cuban crisis when it was hours before this, that, and the other. They crossed that particular moment in time. I don't know how old you are, but I can
never ask a lady their age.
Who, me?
I'm not going to ask you that. That's why I was never going to ask that.
Oh.
I was just saying. During
how old are you, mate?
During that moment in time, when potentially there would be a nuclear strike any moment if that boat crossed that line.
Have you been playing Fallout 4 again?
I'm just asking from an American, because from a UK point of view, you learn in history in school that basically this, that, and it's quite black and white. Basically, nothing happened. They didn't cross the line, blah, 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 blah. But from what I want to hear from an American point of view is, how did you guys react to that?
Well, I'll be honest, answering your first question. I'm 51, so I was born in 68. I grew up through the entire...
You older than me?
I'm older than everybody in this room.
Jay, I'm sorry, but Jay, no, hang on. You should have been born in the year 69. You've let the side down.
Okay.
You've messed up on so many jokes.
2 seconds. No. Shut up. Let Jay talk, because I want to hear this.
Carry on, mother. Go on. Eat up, mother.
Growing up through the Cold War, where I live in Ohio, I'm just a few miles away from the Wright-Pratt Air Force Base, which is one of the biggest technological bases in the United States. Monsanto Mound used to be not too far from us, where they have a 27 stories underground facility. The bottom 15 floors are sealed off because of the nuclear testing they used to do. We knew that in this area, in the Dayton area, and also what they got in Cincinnati with the nuclear testing they do down there and the GE aircraft and stuff, we knew without a doubt that if it happened, we had seconds. We were done. We were vaporized. So you don't, after every day of hearing, this is happening over here, and Gorbachev's done this, and so-and-so's done that, and Kim Jong-un's going to shoot a rocket at us. We've heard it all of our lives. We were threatened in this area constantly. You know that you're on the target. You know that you're living in a target area.
It's a big target area.
But with only two small nukes,
when you're firing a missile, Kerry, a big target area doesn't really mean nothing.
Have you never played an action game?
You can miss its site by a couple of 100 miles and still
kill the site.
Technically, vaporize most of where it is.
And you say it's a big target area. A drive from Wright-Patt to downtown Cincinnati is about an hour drive. So it's not as far as what you think it is. They're actually close together. So
obviously you said you were born in the year you were, so you would have been very, very, very young. But how were your parents around this sort of stuff? Because because people will go to Cuba because it's great to go to Cuba, drive in an American 70 car and have a laugh and give everybody jeans and pencils and pens and all this. But at the end of the day, these guys are going to basically to a country where you were seconds away from that country, trying to obliterate the living arse out of you.
Yeah. But our parents never talked about it. We heard about it on the news thing like that. We were always just told, it's an adult thing, go play, go be kids, because they didn't want to worry about that. Because if you grew up with that whole thing over your head constantly, that somebody's wanting to kill you, all we got to do is push a button, how would you grow up? How would your life actually be? So you get a thick skin to things. That's why a lot of times I talk with my son, with him being 20 and stuff, my generation to his generation, the difference is that we have extremely thick skins. We were threatened to be killed constantly. And he sees somebody, Kim Jong-un's got a missile that could go, and I'm like, yeah, we grew up with that every day. So-and-so's got this. I'm like, we grew up with that threat every single day. After a while, you don't pay attention.
You sort of become quite thick-skinned.
Bringing it actually into focus here, it's very similar to those people who lived on the mountain inside at St. Helier before it blew up. Before it erupted. They're living on like a danger zone. That is an active volcano. It's known as an active volcano. It erupted, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Right. And now, obviously, that devastated people that lived on the mountain. So they lived with that. They knew the risk when they sort of lived there. I know you didn't know the risk because political landscapes change.
Right. The difference there is that they had control of it and knew they were doing it. We have no control of it, and we're stuck in it anyway.
But my point is, you kind of ignore it on a day-to-day basis until it happens. But Mount Helier is now a dark tourism place.
Yeah, but that's slightly different because Helier isn't active anymore, is it?
No, it's still active.
But I'm talking Helier and that sort of stuff. You go there to look at the
sleeping giant.
Yeah, exactly. The couple that's supposed to be sleeping with, all that sort of stuff.
Helena, sorry.
Yeah.
Mount Helena, wasn't it?
Mount Helen. We call it Mount Helen over here.
Yeah.
Mount
I called it Helier, and it's not. It's Helen.
What you do in your private life is entirely up to you. But I don't want to know about you mounting Helen. All right.
But, like I say, going back, it's a dark tourism place now, where people climb the mountain to see the destruction that the volcano did. And this is the similar sort of places that people are going for dark tourism at. I say, when I was looking through the list of where you could go, even places like, a lot of them had war links, like in the UK, Bletchley Park and Kelvedon Hatch. Personally, I wouldn't have classed Kelvedon Hatch.
We've been to Kelvedon Hatch. We've been there.
Yeah, but I wouldn't class it as a dark tourism moment.
No,
except it's pinpointed at a bad point in history, which is the Cold War. But no death or people lived there.
Yeah, but
there were two deaths. There were two deaths.
An aftermath that didn't happen.
But I agree with Mark on this. I don't see Mount St. Helens as a dark tourist place. I don't see Ground Zero as a dark tourist place. I don't see Auschwitz as a dark tourist place. Those are tragic places where death had happened, yes. But there's no chance of me being harmed from that. I go for those things like paranormal investigating. I love to be a paranormal investigator, but a part of me loves to be a ghost hunter. I want that thrill. I want that thing that's going to scare that shit out of me. I want something that's going to touch me. In fact, when I investigate, I always go into a location. I say the same thing every time. You can hit me, kick me, push me, scratch me, throw me down the stairs. You can channel through me, or you can possess me if you think you can. I open myself up that everywhere because I want to understand. That's why.
Jay, what you do in your sex life is entirely up to you. But we're talking about spirits here. Come on, dude.
Yeah, but we're not talking about investigating these places. We're talking about just visiting them.
Exactly.
You can go to the suicide forest in Japan.
Japan, yeah.
I would love to.
Is that a good thing to do? A bad thing to do? Is that step too far?
No. If you've got respect,
I would say it's a good thing to visit, but it's a bad thing to YouTube.
If you've
or
got,
a bad thing to investigate.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing to investigate. I think
he's
it's a bad
talking about
YouTube and make money out of the people that killed themselves in it. Going to investigate on your own and then doing your own findings from it in a respectful way.
May I jump in there?
Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you.
Sure, sure.
That forest, he's exactly right. It's exactly spot on. There's a certain YouTuber, I will not mention any names, but he took a hiding from a very nice YouTuber that I've spoken to before, who thought it would be hilarious to go to that forest, find somebody that had unfortunately had succumbed to those thoughts and had taken her own life, and he took their photo whilst he was standing beside him and thought he'd humiliate it and take the mickey. Wrong. It's not the forest that has the bad vibes that makes people do that. It's the lifestyle that people have in that particular part of the country, and they get to the point where the lifestyle is so much they can't take it anymore, and they literally want to find a place where they can just say, you know what, stuff this, end it. And unfortunately, they go there, and that's why it's made a big name for itself. The forest itself, I don't think, is an evil place. I would like to go there with the Dark Mirror Show and investigate it, but I don't think it's an inherently evil place. But when you've got idiots like that Joker on YouTube disrespecting and taking the mickey, that's when you might get ground spirits that look up and say, do you know what, mate, I don't like you, and then things happen.
Mark, I completely agree with you, and I think there's better places, more interesting places where, as we say, the Dark Mirror Show should go and have a look at. Exactly. And people say on social media about, go to the suicide forest, this, that, and the other, and this. No, I don't personally. If somebody gave me the option, I'll tell you what, you've got three options. You've got to go to Penn State, you got to go to Alcatraz, or you go to
Penn State.
Hang on, I haven't finished. Keep your gob shut until I finish. So you got Penn State, Alcatraz, or the Suicide Forest in Japan. I would be on that plane to two of the other locations, because at the end of the day, I don't want to glorify, or wouldn't want to glorify, one of them. When you go to the other two, yes, there's been suicides. Yes, there's been murders. Yes, there's been horrible deaths and this, that, and the other. But it's slightly different. I'm not glorifying them. I'm basically going to investigate the area, the building. I'm not going to glorify a wood which is potentially being a suicide wood, because I hate that name. Because I don't think if nobody ever gave it that name, would ever be on the map.
I to play devil's advocate here, I agree with Mark said about the taking your picture with the deceased person, things like that. I think that's extremely macabre. But on the other side of it, there is another name for it. The actual proper name for the woods, I don't know, but I know it's not Suicide Woods. But there's still a story.
I'll tell you the name of it. It's Aokigahara.
But there's still a story to that woods, why do people go to this location for this macabre thing? And maybe if they find more of the story of what he said, and like Mark said about the circumstances of their living conditions and everything else, there is a story to be told without desecrating the human remains that was there or the human lives that tragically were lost.
Exactly.
You can still go there and tell a story and do it the proper way. There's a good way to tell a story.
There are places around the world. Sorry to overspeak you, but
no, you're fine.
Sorry. There are places around the world. It's not just that place. There are places around the world that seem to be suicide spots. We have one in the UK called Beachy Head.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's slightly different because that's
How is it different?
Because it's a long drop, and you know you're not going to survive by jumping out the boat.
It's a suicide spot. It doesn't matter how you commit suicide.
No. Because at the end of the day, if you go to a wood, you've basically got to do two things. You've got to hang yourself, which takes an awful lot. You just hang a rope and put you over there and jump or do anything like that. Beachy Head, technically, as they say, it's not the fall that kills you, it's the stopping that kills you. Because you jump over a cliff, when you stop, you're dead.
When you put a rope around your neck and you jump, you stop, and you're dead.
Yeah, but when you got a beaky head, you don't have to worry about that. You can just...
Is it a point of you have to disagree with everything I say? It's a suicide spot in the UK. It's well known. It's a suicide spot in Japan. It's well known.
I'm not disagreeing with you one bit, Carrie.
Time out just a moment. We're here with you. Mark, put it on the calendar.
Jay, have you got any popcorn left, mate? Because we need to sit back and get out.
No, I on this one, Carl, I'm going to agree with Carrie. It doesn't matter what the means of your demise is. A suicide spot's a suicide spot. Golden Gate Bridge is well noted for people jumping off of it. Doesn't make it any less of a suicide spot just because they land in the water and things. It's still a spot where people go in numbers, more than one or two, and continue to go there to end their lives for whatever reason. There's still a story to be told there, and it's just a matter of the perspective that you tell it. Whether you do it with the dignity and respect, whether you do it for shit, grins, and giggles, and just to get attention.
So what we're saying then is it's down to the intention of why you're visiting these places.
With anything, paranormal investigating, with anything, it's your intentions of how you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of places, you've got the privacy, you've got the what's the word I want? The wherewithal, because you've got the privacy and and it's secluded and this, that, and the other. You have the wherewithal. If you're determined to do that, you're going to do it. So you're going to do it with a bit of dignity and a bit of privacy and this, that, and the other. Unfortunately, you got the Golden Gate Bridge. You have people that record it and see it, this, that, and the other. But like, how do you pronounce that place? I brought it up just now. That forest just now. It is Owakigahara forest. Yes. It's private. There's a lot of bamboo. There's this, that, and the other. It's quiet, secluded. You're going to do it because you can be at one with your thoughts. You can be at peace, and you can lay to rest your own demons and this, that, and the other. But then you get the people that come along and go, "Let's investigate this place." And no.
So are we saying then that we shouldn't investigate these places?
Oh, I would, but I would do it a little bit with dignity.
No, I'm not saying that. I do it. As he said, and as Carl was trying to say, do it with dignity. Don't do it with YouTube.
Right.
Exactly. Don't post it. Don't go, oh, hello, I'm going to the woods. Don't do that whole, sadly, at the moment, it's all about social media.
Exactly.
Do it with respect, guys. Come on. Don't make a TV show out of it. Don't put it out on YouTube. Don't post it on Instagram.
How is that
at the end of the day
different then from a man on TV visiting these places under a premise of dark tourism?
Because at the end of the day, there's several differences. Kerry.
Well,
one, the guy on the dark tourism show didn't really go into the forest to investigate whatever. He just did the whole run up to it before he got out of the coach, and that he had enough respect to realise potentially what he could walk into, so he stopped it. Yeah. These guys on YouTube that are just looking for YouTube followers or Instagram followers that want to have a picture next to a corpse or some poor so-and-so hanging off a tree or whatever you want to call it. That's up to them, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't wet on them while they were on fire.
Young man.
I'm being that in a polite way because I don't think that. I do not think that sort of element should be on social media. Personally,
no, it shouldn't. It really should not.
We should have respect.
See, the thing that
we should have respect. We should have things that mean a lot and not take the mickey or think, I tell you what, if I take a picture of this now, I'm going to get 30,000 followers. No, I'm sorry. If you take that and you publicity that, you're a twat for doing it.
May I jump in just for 1 second? Because following on what Carl is saying, is when you go on social media, you get people that get blocked for like 3 days a week, this, that, and the other, for daring to say anything about somebody's alleged gender or this or this, that, and the other. But you get these idiots that go out there on these tourism things, and they take photos of of themselves next to some poor soul who's just committed suicide, and they don't get it blocked, they don't get it banned, they don't get it taken off, and it's like, what on earth is going on with the world now, where you can be so disrespectful and it's allowed, but if you dare say anything about somebody who, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, I'm a potato, I don't know, you can't say anything about that, and you get taken off. But you can go along and take a photo next to some poor soul who's got so bad and got so, so beyond the point with mental health issues that they've taken their own life. And unfortunately, a lot of us have been there, myself as well, you don't do that. And these days, social media and this, that, and the other, they need to have a rethink and a relook at their rules, because everything's upside down, and a lot of the things that are going on now should not be allowed. You should allow the dead to be respected. You shouldn't allow people to take their photos and put it up on there. You give them a bit of respect, a bit of decorum,
I agree.
I totally agree with that, but I also don't think that... I think the dark tourism thing, which is a thing, it is, you could go and buy, like I said earlier in the show, you can go and buy tours.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You can go and do weekend trips specifically to some of these locations for this specific reason. And this has become a bigger thing since, I'm not saying it hasn't always gone on, but now it's got a title. Now it's being put out there a lot more. Now it's more a to-do thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's not just things like the Fukushima nuclear disaster and, the Concordia. I mean, there were boat trips that could take you past the Concordia, the big ocean liner.
That's
where
right.
300 people.
It's not there anymore.
It's been towed
right
since. But when it was there, lying on its side, they were making a mint out of doing like boat trips, so you get really close to it.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Why?
But what we're trying to say is like places where you've got souls that have come to the end of everything, and they do that, and then you've got places like Auschwitz and this, that, and the other, where you've got people that unfortunately had these things happen to them, and it was not of their own volition. It was literally done to them and stuff everybody else. Mm-hmm. If it's places like that, have a bit of respect. But when you've got like Vlad Dracul's castle, and yes, although he did do all that, and he did all that with the stakes hundreds and hundreds of years ago, it's still technically the same thing, but because it's so long ago, you've got a history element there, and I understand why people will do that. But when you've got like recent history and this, that, and the other, leave it be for a few generations, just have a bit of respect.
So we're saying basically that, the Tower of London...
Do the tourism,
dark
but
tourist, right?
Have respect.
Yeah, but the Tower of London would be classed as a dark tourism spot because of all the death and torture and beheadings and stuff that happened there.
But that was centuries ago.
Does it matter?
See, there you go. You're putting a timestamp on it. That's
what we were just talking about.
But that's the point. Does it matter then if it happened 400 or 500 years ago, or whether it happened 100 years ago, or whether it happened, 50 years ago? Does it matter then?
I'll give you a scenario.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
I think, Kerry.
Yes.
One of the things which I feel, particularly when it comes to the paranormal, and you see it so often on social media, and you see it on posts, you see this, that, and the other, is as soon as a celebrity dies, next thing you've got these mediums claiming I'm in touch with these people.
You've got a teenager going, I'm speaking to him now, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And you just think, okay, fair enough, whatever. And then all of a sudden, there's another element where these horrible, macabre murders happen recently, and things happen, and people then claiming this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff. I think personally, from my own personal point of view, This is going to sound weird on Dark Mirror Show. I'm going to get a little bit dark and not dark, but a little bit serious on it because I think this subject needs to have a little bit of sensibility about it. Is you have to understand your boundaries.
No, I agree.
Where
I totally
you
agree.
go and what you do and what you experience. Whether it's going to, say, Gettysburg in the States, or you go to Chernobyl, whether you go to other places around the world, which has had horrendous deaths.
Mm-hmm.
You have to respect that, and you have to respect that with the utmost respect as an investigator or a researcher or whatever name tag you want to throw onto yourself. But when it comes to certain situations, cases, or places over modern times, whether you are openly admitting you push this subject because you want this subject to be big or whatever. I'm not trying to put in cases or whatever. I think it's kind of wrong. Okay? That's my personal view.
No,
Okay.
I
Jay,
Anyway, take it over.
what's your overall feeling over this?
I agree with that and being respectful about things, but I'm still at the main thought that there's a difference between visiting places where horrific things have happened and a dark tourism. To me, a dark tourism is something about the adrenaline rush, someplace that I could be harmed. If it's just a historical spot, then that's just plain reverence or trying to tell a story of a historical location. I want to go. For me, if I'm going to go in dark tourism, I want to go up close to the reactor at Chernobyl. I want to go to, as that one showed, the guy was with a warlord in one of those countries in Africa, and he was actually on the front lines being shot at. He didn't even have a gun.
Yeah.
The guy put himself in harm's way. That's dark tourism to me.
I think Jay's absolutely right because
Do you know what's taken
the
off?
definition of dark tourism is different. I think
My
whether
definition-
it's this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, when you are trying to experience like going to Chernobyl, or you want to go to the front line of a modern war that's happening as we speak, where people are dying there and then, and you just want to go and visit the front line or whatever, which people do want to do this. I think it's different to people that want to go and investigate or look at places that are in the past that's not happening right now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have where you go to where Chernobyl was happening. You went to you go past the first barricade to the second barricade. You're in a safe zone there where you're over another threat. You go past the fourth barricade to where almost no one goes, and you can only be there for a few minutes, or you will risk contamination. Now that's more of a dark tourism right there. You're passing that barrier. You're actually taking a chance on harming yourself and losing your life.
Yeah.
That there to me is dark tourism. Just going past the first barrier and say, "Oh, I saw it." You only saw it from 100 miles back from where the reactor's at. You didn't see it.
It's like the people who say they went to Area 51. No, they didn't. They went to the front gate, which is 22 miles away from Area 51. They haven't been at Area 51. They went to the 22 miles away.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely the same thing.
A tourist at the gate, you want to be a dark tourist, get inside Area 51, go the 22 miles inside. You get in the center of that thing, you're a dark tourist right there, and you're taking your own life in your own hands. You are now a dark tourist. But at the gate, anybody driving by on the roadway is a dark tourist in that fact.
So it's the actual tourism industry then that is muddling the term of dark tourist.
Yes.
Yeah, of course it is.
And on that bombshell, we've actually come to the end of the show, guys. We've actually come to the end of the show.
No,
we have. Go on, Mark. Last point, quick though, because we are running out of time.
Well, stop bloody talking and let me talk. Hang on.
I'm back.
The difference between dark tourism and normal tourism, they've just said. Normal tourism, you get to the gate. Dark tourism, you can sneak in beyond the gate. And it's that little bit that makes a difference.
And it's the tourist industry that is driving that. Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody, over on Z Talk Radio and Parasearch Radio. We hope you enjoyed tonight's
Nipples
show.
are very hard. Yeah.
If you want to hear what's coming up on the rest of Parasearch Radio for next week,
51.
join us on Monday, or join me when I go live on the Parasearch Radio Facebook page. Jay, do you want to wrap it up for your listeners?
Hey, we thank you guys for listening on this crossover adventure, and this will not be the only one. There will be more in the future. We want to work more together, and thank you guys for taking the time to include us.
And on
Jay
that
is
note,
my brother, my mother.
Say good night, guys.
Jay, love you. Carl, love you. Kerry.
And I just like to thank all the guys in the US. Love you guys. Jay's unbelievable. Listen to his show. And if you're listening, just come over to our show, our little show in the UK. Dark Mirror Show, Parasearch Radio. Give us a listen. You might have a little bit of a giggle. You might have a little bit of a hello, no. But anyway, see you next week.
We're very humble over here, you see. Jay is literally my brother from another mother. We are the same, except he has more hair than me. And Kerry, she's my cousin that I kind of like. So, you know. And Carl, he's like my best mate. So... Yeah, I must be American.
And Jay, at the end of the day, has more digits than Mark as well.
Okay, we're done. Let's wrap it up.
I can go off you now, Carl.
Good night.
Aliens, love you. Be out of here.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.